Thank you for tuning in to the Canada Startups video series. In this video, we will be discussing the different components of a pitch deck presentation. While a pitch deck presentation may change depending on your purpose or use, it should always try and mimic the needed components that we will be discussing shortly. So let's take some time together and see the different components and what to include in your very own pitch deck. Just like with a business plan, every business may have a different approach as to what they assume the best pitch deck presentation should look like. And while you are free to create any style presentation you wish to impress the viewers, it is always important to try and follow specific components that have now become the norm. These include anywhere from 10 to 15 slides, with an average of 30 seconds of reading time per slide, in order to avoid the reader becoming bored. Some pitch decks may be a bit longer or shorter, but trying to stick within the range is often ideal. So let's discuss some of the components. First, you want to start with an introduction to your business model. What is your business? Keep your introduction slide short and sweet. How will you generate a revenue? How much will you make? By when? How will you get your customers to find your business? Very briefly, with no more than 30 to 60 seconds for the initial slide, simply to give a brief overview. Next, talk about you, or your team. Show the people behind the scenes and briefly describe their role. Often mention their name, title within the organization, and any relevant experience or history. It is a good idea to include photos as well if available. Next, you want to talk about the problem you are trying to solve with your business. In other words, why did you start this business? What is the problem that your business addresses? An example, let's say McDonald's addresses would be that people are busy and need to grab food that isn't expensive while they are on the go. Your answer or solution to the problem is next. What makes you, or your business special? How are you different from the competition? Describe how you plan on fighting the problem with a solution. An example going back to McDonald's would be that they offer cheap meals, quickly, and have many convenient locations to cater to busy people. Now, you get to talk about your products and services. Briefly outline the various products and services you will have available so that the viewer is aware. From there, start bringing in the market. Describe your target market. Where are they located? How old are they? How much money do they make? How many of them are there? Why do they want or need your product or service? Who else is doing what you are doing? How successful are they? What do they offer? This slide will help the reader briefly understand your potential as well. Next, we go into the Ask slide. This slide of the presentation is what you are asking for. This is the ultimate goal you have by doing this presentation. What do you need from the investors? Advice, money, support? Try and be specific. After you've finished asking for money, or whatever it is you need, you will want to solidify your ask by convincing the investors, or reader about your financials, or the potential. How will you generate a revenue? How much will you make? By when? How will you get your customers to find your business? Once all is said and done, don't forget your cover page and a closing statement. This is often where you will sign off and provide your contact details as well. As you develop your pitch deck presentation, you may feel like you are on a roll. It's easy to go a bit overboard as well. The important thing is to keep the reader or listener or viewer interested. To ensure that the recipient of the pitch stays interested, be sure to avoid doing these things. When it comes to a proper presentation, the goal with a pitch deck is to make it visually appealing. You really want that design aspect to stand out so that the investor remembers it. Just as important is how you pitch and the information you provide. Nobody wants to just sit there and listen to you talk, or to read pages and pages of what you find important. Instead, focus on the materials that is required for the investor to make their decision an easy one. But at the same time, you as the business owner don't want to give it all away. Your goal should be to get the listener to ask questions, to want to see your full business plan, in which you will go in more detail on each point. The business plan is what ultimately convinces them, while the pitch deck is the quick peek to see who is interested. The one key thing that often hurts a pitch deck is that a business owner doesn't know what to choose to talk about, so they try to fit a bit of it all into one slide. It's never appealing to hear a pitch where the business owners bounce all over the place. Instead, use the previously mentioned components, top to bottom, and briefly summarize your entire model in such a way. As we come to the end of the video, you should be aware of the various components that compose a pitch deck presentation. While pitch decks in general are more visually appealing, you will still want to consider the components that are critical and needed at this stage. Here are a few more common questions that we get all the time to help you prepare a better pitch deck. Do you need all of the components in the pitch? Yes and no. There is no right answer here, but statistically speaking, if you are seeking funding, the components presented in this video are usually what investors, bankers, and government funding agencies are accustomed to seeing. The more info you can provide in regard to the needed components, the better it will be for you. How do you decide what to ask for with your pitch? Well, the ask is usually the entire purpose of the pitch deck. If it's funding, this is something you will have to take time and work on your business plan and financial components first, as these steps are what will determine where you fall short on. A quick answer would be to ask for the funds you need within the first 3 to 6 months. Will you have to present your pitch in person? In some cases, depending on the situation, you may have to. However, in most cases, presentations are shared via the web or sent in an email to the reader, who takes the 5 to 10 minutes to review and contact you with additional questions or the next steps. What is the best format for a pitch deck? Depends on your presentation style. Some presentations are submitted in a PowerPoint format, while some will be done online, via a website, or as a PDF file. It is a good idea to see what your recipient is looking for and accommodate. And lastly, should you have a business plan as well? Definitely. A pitch deck can't replace a business plan, but it can work well with the business plan to give you the best chance of success. Be sure to tune in to our next video, as we will start discussing financial statements and how you can properly plan for your financial situation for your business.